Hello, everybody, and welcome back to part 2 of our review of Lord Finesse and DJ Mike Smooth's Funky Technician. It's
Yep.
the album review for that album. That's right, Lord Finesse, DJ Mike Smooth, Funky Technician. Okay, Google, are you happy? We said it twice. Anyway, we are going to go through the second half of this album as we've been going through it track by track.
Yep.
That's what we do over here. My name is Holden Stephan Roy.
I am your lady friend, Bonnie.
We've already gone through the first 6 tracks of the project and given our thoughts, kind of baseline the album a little bit. So if you want to get the full experience, you can go ahead and check that out. But if it just so happens that your favorite song and all you care about is on the second half of this project, you may as well just stick around and go through it. Check the description for an itinerary of all the different times we will be talking about each song. But this time, we're going to be starting with how I keep the crowd listening. At least that's literally what I hope we do in this podcast here.
That's true.
All right, Bonnie, how do you feel about this very song?
So based on the intro, let me just read it to you. All right, let me kick this fly intro, something that's smooth but quite simple. This is my type of groove, so don't make plans. I don't care if you hop, skip, or break dance. Don't worry, because you'll get your chance to get funky and kick the fly dance steps. At a show, I try to maintain discipline. I keep you moving, but also listening. So right away, he obviously thought that people would break dance to this particular song, and that's something that he kind of mentions. At the same time, he mentions that his lyrics and his rhymes are quite simple, which we've seen and kind of I've mentioned a couple of times already. But he's still giving you DJ Mike Smooth is still giving you like that hype beat that you can dance to, but while at the same time, Lord Finesse is giving us the rhymes that we enjoy listening to, and it's easy and it's fun, and it's just kind of like what he said here. So it is a smoother, kind of slower kind of beat, but like the rhymes are still hype while being consistent and flowing through the whole time. This is more about like making people enjoy the rhymes while also, like I was saying, like paying attention to those that are dancing. So I thought it was kind of a cool song. So I give this a 4.2 on 5.
For me, this goes back into that slower end, and I felt like we had Here I Come, which was slow, and I was like, oh boy, not my favorite. I feel like we went into a cooler tempo with Slave to My Soundwave, and then with this one, we are back to this okay, slower jam sounding thing. And I respect how a lot of people actually really like slower music, and that's just like a preference thing. But it's just like I wouldn't dance to this. It's just I wouldn't really go out of my way to put this on. I feel like it's not even that funky to me. It feels just kind of like school. It reminds me of school for some reason. Like this like like almost infantile or juvenile in the way that like it comes off from the beat. But it's fine. Maybe I'm just being picky or whatever. Line-wise, it's cool. I liked when he was just like, make MC say, or rip up mics when it's time to throw it out. Make MC says, I don't want to even go now. All I need is a mic and a hype groove. 2 dancers and my DJ Mike Smooth to spin the wheels and make you shake your body. I kick a party like I know karate. At the end of the day, I do believe that he can achieve that goal. And it made me wonder, do like all of the crews back then have dancers in them as well?
Did they have actual dancers in their crew?
Well, he made it. Well, I mean, during the live show or like part of who you perform with, I guess a lot of people had dancers then. Maybe not, but he clearly mentions it, which is what made me wonder about it. I know that like nowadays it's probably not the most. I don't imagine most rappers pop off with a dance crew, but I don't actually go to enough rap shows to know about that.
Okay.
Maybe I should go to more of the bigger names. But damn, concerts got real expensive, is all I'm trying to say. And I don't really think many people are worth the money many places try to charge you to go actually see the show. And festivals, I'm a little old. It's not my cup of tea. But I thought it was kind of cool. Like, it just kind of feels like this is meant for more of a liver experience, and I could see how the energy would be real good with it. Like, he's kind of chanting along, but like, here we go. So let's just stand back. I take a ho, a cheer, or a hand clap, and you know, I can just picture everyone clapping together, and you know. But it just isn't like my favorite. The second verse doesn't do a whole lot more to bring life into it. He keeps that same flow going. Now it's tight. He rides the beat perfectly. Like, if you were to check a box of all the things a rapper's supposed to do, I think he accomplishes all the goals. But man, I don't find myself really feeling it. And it's not like anyone's doing anything wrong. It's just I don't really like slowish tempos like this. It was just really hard for me to get into. So I gave it another 4.1. Because I recognize it's well made, it's well mixed, and all like the things that like make a song well produced, it's there. The Diamond D does an excellent job on this beat. Just not that into it. That's okay. Because the next one's called Bad Mother, and it doesn't say fucker. Like here, there's some more life in this. There's some more energy in this. It's like I feel like you can bop to it. You can get your head into it.
Yep.
And I feel like the way he rides it, the flow here is, I know you like it, James Brown, etc., but there's just more life in it, you know? Like, so don't bore me. I've been naughty. Even as a kid, people said, look at Shorty. Back in the days, I had much attention. Speak of competition, man, listen. It's not necessarily what he's saying, but the way he's saying it has like a bop to it and a flair to it that's really cool, that I find myself liking, you know? He's also deadlier than a whole bottle of cyanide, and when he digs in his brain, he says a fly rhyme. I know there's a Mario bar up in there somewhere, which I really like the way he like floated. I play MCs like a game of Mario Brothers. I hold my own, plus I carry another's. Rhymes I make strong. Watch him take form on a sucker who steps out his face wrong. And again, we're in the same flow of he's a dope rapper. He's better than other MCs. People who cross him, he'll wreck because he's like ill and stuff. Ultimately, it's just 3 verses of him kind of following suit in the same level of rhymes. The beat is more upbeat. I find it's got more of a quicker pace to it, but it's still kind of smooth, still kind of nice sounding. And I feel like I don't 100% understand the vibe of the track, but I like it still. But what do you think about this one?
Like this one is, you know, like you mentioned, it is like a not heavily sampled of a James Brown song, but like it's pretty relevant to the song. Like it kind of like holds the whole thing together, and it adds to the song, I think, as well. So I think that's kind of cool. I think that's like the proper use of using another artist's stuff. You know, like that it adds something more to it. And this is about how basically he's been writing raps or poetry since he was a kid, and you know, maybe it wasn't taken so seriously then, but like now, you know, he is being taken seriously. I'm known as a smooth, cool brother, a funky technician. Call me a bad mother. So
Tucker.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. What other rhymes? I think that, yeah. I'm the MC to fear and run from, shocking you so much you think I'm using a stun gun. I hold the title because I'm the cool champ. If rap was money, you'd be rated as food stamp. You try to boast and toast. You go by what name? You can't get with finesse. You're just jump change? I always thought it was chump change. You couldn't cut it even if you had a hacksaw. You're just a rap that I laid a track for, because records get mixed up, foes getting ripped up, get ripped up. If a mic was a freak,
I'd get my tip sucked.
Yeah. So I thought that was like that whole section I thought was like kind of cool. Good rhymes there, and like some like kind of like when you think about it, like those are some pretty like fire rhymes. I like them. They're pretty cool.
I don't know if I go as far as fire, but I'd say that they're like entertaining. Like
yeah.
The thing is they're really fun for me the first couple of times you hear them. But like
I imagine like this kind of thing, like being at like a live show, like this, like that would be like, oh, like they would get the like reactions from the crowd.
Right, and I could imagine it being super dope in like 1990. But like looking at it from the lens of today, it's a little bit less that for me.
Okay.
I think it's inventive. I think it's really cool. But like, this isn't the most poetic. It's not like the most next level wordplay. It's basically like foundational. It's kind of like stuff I see as being contributing to what would come later on.
Yeah,
and in that
absolutely.
regard, I say this with all respect. It's well done. It's creative. It's just the fourth or fifth time I'm hearing these lines, I'm like, cut it. Even if you had a hacksaw, get it, cut it, hacksaw. Like, that's the level of connections going on here. Whereas, like, take, say, an idea, we could talk for 3 hours about that album because the depth of the concepts that went behind each song.
Yeah, but not everything has to be like, you know, a giant essay, you know, which is fine. Like, this is more like...
I wasn't dancing to idea.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to move and shake my little booty to this one.
Yeah.
And I'm giving it the credit in that regard. I was just trying to give my impression on how I like the rhymes. I just don't know that they're a hook for me. They're kind of just like fun. Like, they're the kind of goofy stuff. Like, you're at a party and everybody goes, if Mike was a freak, I get my tape. Like, everybody's like singing that together because everybody, like, it's kind of in that realms.
Okay.
But like, I don't know. I'm not certain that like I would throw this on and listen to it ever. Yeah. Like, for anything other than like background music, because it's got a great beat. In almost every case, it's got great beats.
But I think that that's like what it can be used for, and I think that that serves a purpose. Just that it's easy to listen to and it has a good beat. I completely
agree with you. And the way he raps it, he sounds like an instrument as part of the beat, and the way he raps it is truly amazing to me. And I don't know that I'm emphasized that enough, that he raps. It's just on point. It's like surgically on point with the rhythm and the way he fits the pocket. It's just, you know, I start flipping when I hear the sound of rap. I'm enhanced to keep in step with it and surprise MCs because you slept a bit. So wake up, my man, there's no time for dozing. My thoughts are set and a rhyme has been chosen. Like, a lot of it kind of sounds fillery.
Yeah, I mean...
It could even be like... I don't know. It almost feels freestyle. It almost feels like he's just kind of running with it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is some written, but I don't.
Maybe.
I don't know. Like, maybe it's just because of the era, but
the rhymes are still pretty nice. Like, overall,
they're not bad. They're not amazing. They're good.
Yeah.
They're in that range of I could listen to this. Nothing about this is irritating. It's just not profound.
Yeah.
But the way he flows it is real nice. So I gave it a 4.25.
I gave it a 4.3. And I also like the kind of 70s sounding kind of beat, or 60s, 70s. Like, it was just like of that era. So I liked how it sounded funky.
Well, there is one thing that we can say Lord Finesse does proper. He keeps it flowing. I like this one. It's got a nice, good energy to it. How do you feel about it?
So we have Andre the Giant, or otherwise known as AG, starts us off with on this one, and you know, he's good. We get what we get. It's a nice flow, nice rhymes overall. This one is another one that I think is perfect for breakdancing. I think that there's just like great rhymes like throughout it. I'm just gonna like pull up one of them. I know that there was like a few that I was like, oh yeah, I'm like, I should mention that.
Like, step to this and get ate like a starburst, or play out like Lee's in an old pair of Converse. This is a peep show, more like a creep show, low blow to injure, and it's more like a weak blow.
Yep.
I thought it was fun just because it kind of pulls out a good rhyme things, but also, you know, I don't really understand the Lee's line, but...
Well, these are jeans.
Oh, so yeah, the style of the... Okay, fair enough. That makes a lot more sense. And then it's...
I like Lord Finesse's, or you're going to keep reading AG's?
Well, I mean, I like the way he does it, the energy of the way he rhymes it. Girls give me more support than they get from a maxi pad is one of the best lines on this album. Because, I mean, I don't actually know.
I think there's another one about a tampon later on, but...
And it's kind of in the same vein. I feel like at this part of the album, a lot of what we've said has been applicable here. it's line by line, interesting stuff pops out, and even with my skill, I even rock off church music, get personal, and have to nurse a few, clap or hum, and I'll kick a verse or two. I like that because, in church you'd hum and clap and whatnot, so it kind of relates the two things together, and I think it's cool.
Yeah.
But again, it's very simple, very straight to the point. Hands start flying just like Peter Pan, skills undoubtful, rhymes unbeatable, rough and tough, I'll handcuff and eat 'em too. Like, what does that really mean? Does that really mean anything? Or is it just like he's saying stuff that rhymes and it sounds good,
Yeah, sometimes that's the case.
And then, you were going to comment on Lord Finesse.
Yeah, I wanted to say, right away, I create and make funky rhymes for a hype tape. Brothers try to get with finesse, but they lightweight. I preach and teach just like the man Farrakhan. Get so much on the mic, call this a marathon. So I thought it was interesting, again, that, we've had, especially, of that time period, there's a lot of, especially, New Yorkers and also, some, Southern rappers that we've come across. There's, a good mention, often of, the Nation of Islam and, Farrakhan and, all of that kind of stuff. So it's really interesting that it's just, constant throughout, so many rappers of this time period. I just wanted to kind of mention that. I like the line, I get smooth like my man Luther Vandross. I mean, he was the smooth man back in the day. But overall, I think that this one wasn't bad. It was fun. It was good for dancing. It has a pretty great flow, which is kind of the point, keep it flowing, and that's just kind of how it feels. It's just easy and fun to listen to. So I give this a 4.2 on 5.
I have to just say, I beat and spank and shank those who try and rank on the mic and swift to give, so give thanks, and I'm swift, so give thanks. I'm just like, what the fuck does that mean? What is beat and spank? That sounds like sex. It's like jerking off. I know what shanking is. That's when you stab people. And those who try and rank. So it's I guess he beats them down, and spanking, literally with his hand, he's spanking an ass and he's beating them. Oh fuck, I get it now. Now I feel silly. It's alright. I gave it another 4.25. It's a good vibe. What I have to give this album credit for is when you hit play, outside of the two slow songs I'm not a big fan of, the rest of this album is more or less just consistently great.
Yeah.
And just consistently flows, and it could almost be one of those albums where I feel like they designed them a little bit on purpose like this. They knew people would need some music for a party, so you may as well just throw on that one album and not go have to change it. And it plays for 50 minutes or whatever, and it's kind of got a good vibe going to it. And that, my friends, is a lesson to be taught.
True.
Out of nowhere, we get a full flushed song concept song, a song about something, something that we can even talk about, because it's not just, what I mean is from a concept point of view. Every other song's concept has been, I can rap well and we can flow proper and we make good music.
Yep.
Bonnie, why don't you walk us through the concept of this one so that you don't accuse me of doing the whole thing. Also, DJ Premier kills it on this beat.
Yep. This one definitely feels smoother than the others as well, and I really like the beat and how it kind of bounces kind of back and forth in my headphones. Always appreciate that kind of thing. And I just wanted to point out the beginning of this song that kind of stood out to me. Here we go, so pay attention to the teacher, here to preach a lesson, to reach your brothers and sisters, nieces and nephews. You think I'm joking? Well, then F you. And I just thought that was kind of funny because there's this huge, parental advisory sticker on the front. And it just when you hear shit like this, it's okay, maybe it's not so necessary. But I'm sure there are other lines on other songs that are a little bit more violent and stuff like that. So I guess it makes up for it. But anyways, this is basically about, in the first part, how more kids are getting involved in illegal stuff, and taking that kind of route, and kind of making bad choices or easy choices, and they're selling drugs because for them it's an easy way of making money and it's easy work, and instead of staying in school and being a good person and working hard and being diligent and all that kind of stuff, you choose to sell drugs. But, he's kind of saying that kids aren't so tough, when it turns out that they're being taken to jail and they're in handcuffs and they're in big trouble. So I think that, often that's kind of the truth, is that, people who are like these, badass guys, and then the second that the cops show up, or they're, they find out that they're going to jail, they're like in tears, and, they're all these like shameful male things or whatever, which is not really true. But anyways, it's basically just to set your goals high, to avoid situations like this. Like, before you see all of this, like, decide, like, that's not what I want to be. Like, I want to be better. I want to be, contributing to the positivity in this world, and to, the community and stuff like that. And to make better choices, and to set a positive example for like the next generation, and everybody's in this together, which is definitely something that he talks about, and sort of like the chorus or whatever, is that, everybody's in it together. And, sort of, it just made me think of like, it takes a community to like raise a child, like that kind of expression. It's just that everybody involved helps to allow this child to grow. And if that is a negative environment, and if there, there's a lot of drug dealing and a lot of violence and stuff like that, that is how the child is going to grow, being exposed to those types of things. And so it's trying to set a better example for like your children, and for, everybody else's children, and the community and everything. So, in the second verse, he kind of tells a story about a guy who could have made himself something, who had lots of talent and, drive and things like that. But instead he got involved with drug dealing and, all of the lifestyle of that. And yet he had a lot of nice things, which is often the case when we hear about songs like this, where, the drug dealer is sort of the somebody to aspire to be, somebody because he has things. He has, monetary wealth, that he has these, expensive things, probably, by achieving them by not really the best means, not necessarily always legal and healthy and positive. Anyways, so then he talks about like him being all great in that, and then he takes one like puff of I'm guessing it's crack cocaine, and then like that's it. Like he starts using dope, and everything he had becomes he loses because of his addiction to crack. And it's just crazy. Like, he had all these wonderful things, and then now it's all gone. And this sort of made him crazy. And I guess, he talks about the fact that he went to rehab and kind of gave himself a second chance, which is something that you don't usually hear about in rap songs. It's, it's usually like, oh, this is kind of, he's the bad guy. But this is him kind of getting like that second chance at, maybe making something for himself. And, even though he made this choice, he knows that he can do something better, and he came back and he took the right path in the end, which I think is, pretty positive. And it's not something, like I said, that we often hear about. There's a couple of lines I wanted to mention. You may not like the way I say this, but drugs ain't got nothing to play with. So don't be pressured by what the grown say. Be yourself and walk your own way. So I think that that's, a great message. Walk your own path and do maybe what's different if you're in a community or in a situation like that where everybody's involved in drugs and, negative actions and things like that. Then it's better to forge your own path and do something that's better if it's going to change things and allow yourself to have a better life, I guess. So it's still pretty relevant in terms of like the drug, obviously the crack epidemic, and it was very relevant back then, especially like in poverty areas, and especially in like I don't know, hoods, I guess, like, these guys are from the Bronx, if I remember correctly. And so like that's where like a lot of these sort of like crack situations were happening, because it was just like poverty and just no hope for them really at this point. It was 1990. So anyways, I give this a 4.75. I thought this was a great song. And I really liked the kind of like the change of pace, that it told a story and kind of left you with something more raw and honest, and kind of anthropological study of what was going on back then. So I thought it was cool. What do you think?
I thought it was like a standout track on this album because like it showed his ability to kind of both tell you a message but simultaneously showcase some storytelling. His first one is more preachy and just kind of general thoughts,
Okay.
and verse 2 is more of a story.
Yeah.
And those are two things he does not do anywhere else on this project up
Yeah.
until this point. One of my favorite parts is just at the very beginning when he goes, here we go, so pay attention to the teacher, here to preach a lesson to reach you, brothers and sisters, nieces and nephews. Think that I'm joking? Well then, F you. I just thought it was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
This whole build up to fuck you, but not fuck F.
Yep.
Anyway, so he goes on to describe, to kind of like shed light basically on how quick money's dangerous and how it's just kind of weird how everyone wants these quick wins, like, and show y'all in fact that this is a better way than depending on welfare or Medicaid. So finish up school and pass the scholar quiz and show your children what the value of $1 is. And I like the fact that he's kind of addressing multiple facets of some of the negative trends he's seeing, and he's like, maybe there's just better ways to make money, maybe slower ways, maybe instead of being a hustler, take some time, get yours by achieving and planning, you know, so that when they fall, you'll still be standing. And I mean, it sounds really good on paper. I feel like it's taken away a couple of nuances, but the general point is, you know, don't get into that life.
Yeah.
Which is something that a lot of people have said, and I completely understand where they're coming from. And I don't feel like he's being super preachy about it. I feel like he's kind of saying, this is kind of weird that this is all becoming cool. Maybe we should not be telling our kids that this is cool and that there's a smarter way. Then he does his drug story. Mr. Tone, who was so well paid, to all the girls handsome, he could have passed for Donald Trump's grandson. I love those Trump lines. Anyway, but I don't know that people thought Trump was handsome. That's not really the point. He was saying he's rich.
I think, that's exactly it.
So anyway, he's cool. He's got all the girls and stuff. And, you know, it's flowing through. He's got some hired help, some really dirty, naughty kids, you know, some motherfuckers that are killers. That's what they would be called in a few years. Tone wasn't so unruly. He was a calm guy, but everyone was getting high and whatnot, and he just said to himself, it wouldn't hurt to experiment. Like, I don't know, man. I don't really see Tone as being the guy to establish a drug empire and then just be like, okay, I'll all of a sudden try it because my minions are doing drugs. Like, that part of the story felt a little weak and contrived to support the narrative.
He could have just had like a weak moment or whatever.
Fair.
You know?
Either way,
because
I get
he knew
the
that
point.
He didn't have to, and that's why he went to rehab.
Anyway, it felt like very feel good in the sense of like some public television story at that point, and it flipped, and then everything goes down the drain. He got addicted off of one thing, and then he was getting beamed up like a member of Star Trek. I was like, that's a great line.
He's
too.
very high.
I really enjoyed it. But then he does get himself back together and be yourself and walk your own way. And I respect the message of the song. I respect what he's saying. This is a much better Don't Do Drugs anthem than most I've heard. It's not laced with propagandist misinformation. It's just saying, like, be careful. Because you know what? As much as I make jest about that Tone character, there probably was a lot of Tones who one day decided to start doing drugs and pissed away their empires, and it probably is based on a true story, even though
absolutely.
I don't believe the Tone he described would do such a thing. I might be absolutely wrong. That's how drugs can be. I thought the beat was stellar, the overall flow, like I was engaged. I wanted to listen to it again. I felt like there was something to it. That was more than just the one-off, because, I mean, a way to look at it is if you look at like stand-up comedy, there's the people who do like flowy stories that all have occasional punchlines tying it all together, and that's what more like what this song is. And then there's punchliney people who just every two lines is another little joke. That's what I feel like the rest of this album was. I've always enjoyed more the conceptual side of things.
Okay.
Anyway, 3 more songs on this project. Did you give a grade?
Yeah.
Perfect. So it's just a little something that we like to do here is give grades on these albums. I like this beat from... I think Showbiz has been like the him or Premier. It's hard to say which is better, but both those dudes have been killing it on the beats on this project, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Sorry, Diamond D. Whoops. But we also did Stunts, Blunts, and Hip Hop. We did a review for that, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah, Stunts, Kinks, whatever. We did that. Anyway, go on, Bunny.
So yeah, I mean, this one is, we're back to what we are used to. He's the best, and he kills it with the rhymes, and he gets all the ladies, and that kind of sort of braggadocious sort of track. And again, the same sort of sound that we've kind of like heard throughout, like that same sort of flow and feeling that you kind of get. And this one you get a whole shout out to like all of his crew and all of his friends and whatever. So I mean, that's always nice, but it's okay. I think that this one was more made just for the beat and like more like for like taking like and mixing and sampling into like other things for the future. Like I think this is one of those ones that it's designed that way. Like it's less about what is being said and it's more about the beat. And that's pretty much it. I really don't have too much else to say about this one. I gave this a 4 on 5. I thought it was good, but it's definitely not like the standout song.
So I absolutely think this is above average on this album.
Well, interesting.
I feel like it's got a crazy great beat that just gets you pumped up, and then it's like you hear Lord Finesse, he's like, yo, showbiz, you got this going, I just have to rap. And he just comes in and he's fucking raps his heart out for like one long little verse. Then he does little shout outs at the end. But what I like about it is he kind of has like these short little like half lines, like now I'm in the constabulary, great in vocabulary, I'm no joke, went up against any adversary, nifty rowdy, best not crowd me, snuff MCs, step off and be outy. I feel like the way he cuts it and the way he's coming in, it just feels like little jabs with the rhythms, and it feels really fun. It feels like there's a good energy to this one that like I kind of wish was more prevalent throughout the album. Another like I'm fresh and I ain't no half stepper, and I betcha. And I'm like, yeah, that half stepper line again. Mess with me, you'll be leaving on a stretcher. Nasty, fancy rap vigilante. Get funky on the mic because it comes in handy. And I don't know, the speed he's coming at, the way he's hitting it, it just feels fresh. It feels like it's got like an invigoration where it stands out against some of the earlier tracks that kind of did the same thing. But like, I'm a fiendish genius, a rap confederate, call me the Lord King, or better yet, lyrical, artistical, cause I'm original, I'm Lord Finesse, the funky individual. And I don't know why, but I feel like when he does it here, on these particular things, it just sounds a little bit better than the rest of them, is all I'm saying. I don't have a lot more to comment on it. It very much follows suit in that flossiness to it. It's just a little something that he kicked off it. It feels freestyle, but in a really good way, in a way that I feel like makes me want to listen to it more than some of the others. So I give it a 4.35 on 5 because it is pretty dope. And keeping up on the subject of theme songs on this album, the next one
is strictly for the ladies.
Bonnie, I feel like it's more appropriate for you to start this one off.
So this one, it's like, he's basically saying he's impressive to the ladies, and the ladies want him because, he's making money and he's got, fancy things and stuff like that. Even though he's not about those kind of ladies. But it is about how he sleeps with women and then forgets about them immediately after. And then when they go to remind him about it or say something to him about it, he's like, nah, I don't know who you are. I don't know what's happening. It wasn't me. It's sort of like a weird sort of Shaggy song. And it's kind of weird. Like, I didn't know how, especially I think from today's perspective. I think that's a little bit different as well. Maybe, it was okay in the 90s. But whatever. He also talks about the fact that he doesn't like chubby girls or ugly girls, so those should stay away from him. He does like, lovely curvy girls, but he doesn't want, fat girls. And he tells girls to stay lovely and stay beautiful and to not drink or smoke crack. He talks about that he doesn't like underage girls or young girls. He likes, now that he's 19, he's a real man. And
it really comes off like that.
He likes real legal women. So enough with those underage girls. Bleh. He's not a kid. So he's just like, I get all the ladies. And like the beat is good. It's okay. I like the fact that he promotes safe sex. Again, something that was like super relevant and talked about, at this era, just because of like the whole scare with AIDS and HIV. But I mean, he's basically like a good guy, and he's just like, whatever. I mean, it's okay. I'm not so sure that the message still works, especially like in today's day and age. But it's still a good song. It's just sort of like a weird, like, okay, you go bang all those ladies and then just forget about them. I don't know. It was sort of weird. I have 4.2 on 5.
Yeah, so apparently I'm not allowed to have opinions. Review done. Because it's strictly for the ladies, right?
I guess.
And we'll get to that. So at the beginning of this, so this is another DJ Premier one, and it's real nice. And he flows in. And in the first one, I feel like he's kind of professing women with attitudes. You better recognize who you're dealing with, Any girl I work wonders with. Most try to step to me, then get upset with me because I read them up and down like mental telepathy. So apparently he's got a game understanding of the women.
Yep.
He's going to settle down, but not necessarily. Then why'd you say it? You're just a liar. With a girl who wants me for a Cherokee. Okay, so a girl wants a Jeep, I assume. Wants some money out of them.
Yeah.
Or other things that I have in the background. When I cut them off, they go, oh, it's like that now. So I understand where he's coming from a little bit. These women are basically gold diggers.
Yeah.
And I think he's approaching it like, yo, I'm not really into that. Because ain't nothing changed about Finesse but the weather. Trying to go all out, baby. You better sidestep. You're on some new stuff that I ain't even tried yet. You might think I'm insane or crazy. Yeah, I know. This is strictly for the ladies. And that is like the weirdest thing. Because what the fuck did he actually say here that is strictly for the ladies? It's like, A, he's flossing at dudes.
Yep. And
B, he's not really encouraging women to come to him in any way. If anything, this is strictly to tell ladies to get the fuck away. Anyways, but then girl step to this is in like the thing. That's anyway from the Pete Rock and See How Smooth is sampled. Anyway.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Now I gave a girl more than she's asking for, 18 and up, blah blah blah. This whole second verse is whack too. So basically he goes up to the girl and he seduces her. And don't give me that shit about how you're not going to give me a kiss. I want to kiss you, and I want to hold you tight, and I want to cuddle, and I want to make love to you. Is basically what he's saying, okay?
Yeah.
He wants to make love, but he'll take a kiss or a peck or a tight hug. I'm not the type to go out like a light bulb. Okay, buddy. Or go crazy or insane. Like when you're in your 30s and you listen to 18-year-olds talk about sex and you're like, bruh, what are you fucking saying, dog? Anyway, that's fine. Then the girl wakes up and it's like, oh, I don't know nothing. But you was all up on me. Oh, I don't know nothing. Sorry to disappoint. Yo, I can't remember. I'm a player. Oh, I dissed her. Ha ha.
Yeah.
Like, just to get the odds in my favor. You may think I'm out of hand or crazy. I don't think either. I think you're dumb. I think that is a dumb strategy.
Straight to the point.
But he's like, well, if you think that, that's why this is strictly for the ladies. I don't see how the ladies don't think you're dumb too. There's no way actual ladies heard this track and said,
I wasn't falling for it.
Like, dude has game. They may have said, dude rhymes well and has money, so I want the Cherokee. But I don't think you're attracting the women that you're going for on a song like this. And this is why rappers amuse me sometimes. Because it's like, who are you attracting with this? The bitch that you gonna fuck and not remember? Oh, that's going to attract a woman that's going to treat you right?
Yep.
That's why it's strictly for the ladies. Like the ladies.
Please, we don't want it. It's okay. You can keep it.
So then, anyway, in the third verse, he kind of plays out about how he's like basically smashes them groupies, the older groupies, and he's a real man. So now I'm 19. Before, I was 18. Okay, dog.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
usually how
faking.
numbers work.
I'm just stating. I was 31, and in 7 days from today of recording this video, so maybe even 6 or whenever, I'll be 32. Profoundness, right?
Yep.
I'm not faking. I'm just stating it's true. My birthday is November 3rd. I was born in 87. I'll be 32. If you are ugly, then I'll check you later. Okay? But if you are bigger, got a nice figure, contact me. If you don't have a... At least he's not trying to fuck taking people. Okay?
Yeah.
Anyway, then he's just like, okay, Rhyming on the mic like this is frustrating. I'm like, what? Why are you doing it then? But I can rap longer because I'm stronger. Is that like a way of saying that he's waiting for getting laid is a frustrating experience, so he doesn't want to do it? Like, I don't understand how that part was whatever. And then he's like, I'm no kid that plays with Transformers. No, you a grown man, you 19-year-olds. I'm not sloppy. I don't get snotty. But personally, this is me interjecting. I like sloppy toppy. I'm throwing that out there. So sloppy is a good thing when you're trying to have sex. It's just like not being sloppy aesthetically. I get his point. But sloppy sex, you should be a little sloppy. Anyway, rhyming on the mic like this is my hobby. But you just said it was frustrating. So you're frustrated with your hobby.
Yes.
Anyway, then the safe sex part's really good. Respect that.
Yep.
And then dedicating all that to the ladies. I give this a 4.25. It's very funny. I think it's a comedy song, all things considered. And
maybe, was it a comedy song back then?
He's
I don't
19.
think so.
Have you heard 19-year-old spit game?
That's
Shit
pretty much how
sounds
they
cool
talk.
when you're 19.
Yep.
And then you're like, yo, I'm not going to say at 19 I can spit game better. I'm saying that at 31, I'm certainly hoping I can outgame a 19-year-old most situated. Not that we're going for the same ladies probably, but I'm saying that I believe over age you come to have a certain finesse to not smash and toss it away to fuck with her to get a power position.
Right.
That didn't age well. That's not good. That's not how you get women these days, I imagine. I feel like that's how you get destroyed on Twitter. 4.25.
Yep.
Anyway, you can track the movement of that lady using Facebook Messenger if she sends you that little feature. Like, there's all sorts of ways to track the movement with
Creepy.
technology. Google Maps, all the things.
Well, I mean, I suppose it's like a nice way to like walk the lady home without actually leaving your house.
Or you just get their password and you track the
I
movement.
hope not. I hope not.
He gets punani and he keeps the currency. That one lyric makes him sound more fuckable than the rest of the last track. Go on, Bunny. How do you feel? About DJ Premier's excellent beat plus the track.
Right. So this one is nice, and I feel like it has like a similar sort of like setup in terms of like the flow as the rest of the album. And it's kind of got a slow flow going on to it a little bit. And definitely like Mike Smooth like has like I think his time to kind of shine on the beat a little bit here. Or at least he's like mentioned. And basically about like how great they both are and how like sick like Lord Finesse's rhymes are, and you know, again, nothing that's really like original in terms of topic choice, but he flows well, and he flows for a long time because it's 5 minutes 35 seconds, so he tends to like carry on with like his like rhyme flow essentially. So it's not bad. It does feel a little bit long for me. So I give this a 4.1 on 5. It's fine.
That's fair. I enjoyed this song a lot.
Okay.
I think it's a cool way to end the album. I feel like as far as the flow and the overall how everything packages up, this might be one of the best songs on the album in my opinion. Lyrically, I can't say that it's like absolutely next level. I mean, it's a lot of what we've been getting on this project so far, but I feel like it's just a little bit better. Like, nifty, wiser, a soul survivor. I stand higher, going out like MacGyver. Terrific, not egotistic. To be specific, I'm greatly gifted. So it's just like this matter of fact. I got the skills. I'm able to pull it out. I'm versatile like MacGyver, who could just do everything. Commentator, dictator, created because I'm greater with the rhymes that are based on data. I'm like, damn, he's smart. He's using intelligence to derive his shit. Like he's coming from something stronger. Or info, because I cut a smooth tempo. And like that, y'all, it's a funky introduction. My DJ is doing the cutting, so tough MCs ain't really saying nothing. I don't need to try to rap, because I'm fly at that. So on the strength, you'd better quiet that. Here to tempt you, 19 with dimples. I just flares, and the way he hits the beat, the way he rhymes it, from like a technical point of view, it's just nice. It just flows in. And I don't know, it's mostly the beat, I think. I happen to really enjoy it a lot, and the way he mashes with it just comes off like exceptionally. Like, I could really see myself coming back to this particular song over other ones on the project. It isn't necessarily like he's saying anything more profound here. I definitely think the most that we were going to get out of it was it's strictly for the ladies and lessons to be taught as far as like concepts, but he's still killing it here. Like, rhymes on make, break, create, and assemble, lyrical genius, mic defender, those who don't surrender, I crush and injure, now that was hype, funky to rap to, MCs a tackle if I have to, now bust a groove, I'm in a hype move, melt duck MCs like Ice Cube. I like that. And I feel like Ice Cube would melt duck MCs, and that's the truth. You watch him, he's got some properness to the way he flows. Overall, I think it's a strong way to end it. I think he manages to just prove he's a bad rapper, bad in a good way, like badass.
Yep.
He proves that he's top notch. He's on time like a stopwatch, and suckers jump on my tip just like hopscotch. Like, and I can imagine how other people will hear the presentation of this and be jealous, because it really is tight. It really does come in really well. I don't have a lot more I can comment on this except to say that even at the end of this one, he's like a samurai. He's like a shogun. Just because Bonnie had brought up that everybody brings up shoguns rapping at some point on this review.
But I'm pretty sure he brings it up a couple of times, not just here.
I just noticed it there. I gave this a 4.5. I thought it was a very pleasant way to end this album, and definitely one of the more memorable and enjoyable songs on this project. And I guess that brings us to the end of this album review, where I gave this project a 4.28 on 5. I think it's well-rounded, it's consistent, it's good, like in the sense that it checks all the boxes, the rap is on point, the beats are well made, everything's nice. It's just in a lot of ways not something I would go to listen to. I don't know, I come from a little bit later on in life. I'm a little younger than I guess the average group that would have come into this sounds. However, I think it ages pretty well. I think that it isn't like unappealing to listen to today, whereas some of the music from this era is just like, oh boy, going way back. No, it seems like something that really helped move the genre forward, and that a lot of people probably listened to in that era and then found it inspirational even. Like, I could see how a lot more of the quick lyrical guys listen to something like this alongside maybe something like a Rakim to end up building out their flows. And so I really respect what this album is. I think it's a good project. I just don't know that it had a lot of hooks that appeal to my taste in particular, while probably hooking in somebody more production oriented, or somebody that does want more of that vapid, not to say in a negative way, but more of that top level direct rhyming. People who want that, this is a great album for it.
Right. I mean, I gave this a 4.3 on 5, so I mean, that's not far off from your rating. So it's an 86%. Overall, I found that the album flows very well in terms of like the way that it sounds. Like it's not kind of like one song and then like another kind of more jarring kind of sounding song. Like the whole flow is definitely consistent, and it was enjoyable to listen to. For me, overall, there was one standout song and the rest were fine. Mostly just because of, what they're rapping about for the most part was, overall like the same sort of thing. And just that he's showing off and he's, presenting you with his rhyme skills. And that DJ Smooth is able to make music that you will find enjoyable to listen to. And I think one of the critical and most important parts that we, I know I touched on it a little bit, but I know it's probably not always mentioned or noticed, I don't know, but is that there are several of these songs, in my opinion, at the very least, that are created for breakdancing. And I think that is an essential component to what hip hop is. And especially like at this time, like this is, the earlier, end of hip hop, and especially that they're from like New York and from the Bronx, and like this was all happening at the same time, like this growth of like the hip hop of street art and like graffiti and of breakdancing and like different types of dancing as well, and this kind of music and like the whole like mixing thing. So I think all of that is like kind of what you were saying, is that these guys definitely advanced hip hop overall, not necessarily this style, but I'm sure that they did. But I think that they also enhanced, a lot of areas. They touched on a lot of things that contribute to making hip hop what it is. And I think I just wanted to make sure that was mentioned, because I think that is a pretty important and significant thing. Also, I think that I do really like the very strong message that was kind of given, for the one song that was, had a strong lesson, I guess. But yeah, I liked it. It's not necessarily something that like I love, but again, this is another one that you can put on and enjoy the entire album without finding really much fault. And you're not going to find a bad song. It's all going to be good and nice beats.
All right. So thank y'all for watching. We totally appreciate you being here with us. Looking forward to seeing all of your comments, seeing what you have to say in regards to this. Feel free to tell us anything, and we'll make sure to answer you in the comments if you make that effort to leave one.
Mm-hmm.
So subscribe to the channel for more reviews if you dug this. Feel free to like the video if you did. Special thanks to the patrons: Ismail Gajamsi, Chris Prado, Jonathan Barnes, DJ Black, Hurricane, Linda Williams, and Connie Sparks. They're dope.
Yep.
This album was because Linda Williams used his patron powers to pick it, and so we reviewed it.
Lindell, did you ever break dance?
That's a good question. Did you? Actually, all of y'all. Did y'all break dance? I would love to know. Does DJ Black Hurricane bust out some breakdancing on the side?
I bet you he mixes to this. This would be pretty cool.
I'd love to hear all those answers. They helped us get a new camera. They helped us get on Spotify and iTunes and all the podcasting places that we're supposed to have been the whole time. They're going to help us get a website as they start to get that up and running next week. And I just kind of appreciate everything they've done to help. And so if you want to help too, that would be super lovely of you. And you can help us achieve the next level, which costs a lot of money. I also dropped a project recently, an album I put out. It's called The Alternative Grind by Holden, Stephan, Roy. You can check that out on all your preferred music listening platforms. Let me know what you think. That would be cool. Anyway, that's all. Live long and prosper, everyone.
Bye, guys.